So after listening to Mudras and virtues, always be with good companions. Do some practice on a daily basis, and then keep expanding it. Don't say that I have no time, no time. Finally, when you reach age 60, 70, 80, you'll regret. And those of us, you are in your 20s, you may, age 60 is too far away. It's not far away. When you're 30s, 40 will knock at the door. When you're 40, 50 is right next to your nose. This is how you will feel. So therefore, right from now, if you can do something, that would be wonderful. Okay, so what we're doing is not for the sake of ritual, that is a part of the some retreat rituals. No, we don't really do this morning session. In many of the retreats, no morning session. And why we're doing this is for us to learn how to do, how to create, how to design a daily practice for yourself. And then what we're doing for 2 hours, now it's going to be less than 2 hours, it's going to be like 1 and 50 minutes. When you do it on your own, it's going to be like 20, 30 minutes. You can congest it to 20, 30 minutes. Okay, good. So what we're doing, just try to remember these, and I hope that the recordings are of some quality. And you can also ask for the recordings later on. You want to watch it and then try to make your own the manual. That will be helpful. Okay. Refuge field, which was Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us, are so loving, caring, and embracing. Dorji the field, visualize your two kind parents and all the family members, including children, and all the human beings, animals, insects, all the sentient beings here in Tosamling, in your own country, in the world, in the Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe. And here you are, little mother, and all others are like children. And you are there to give full love, attention, affection, and embrace. And the purpose of the practice is to awaken the seed of perfection within you, also referred to as the Buddha nature. And while this is an amazingly powerful, most universally compassionate, and most penetrative wisdom, and the most powerful, while the seeds are within you, why they are not manifest, is because that these beautiful potentials are obscured by the mental defilements. What kind of mental defilements? Two: afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations. Afflictive obscurations constituting of the solid garlic, like the mental defilements, contaminant karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, and self-grasping ignorance, and the active seeds. And cognitive obscurations constitute this smell like garlic. After you remove all the solid garlic, you wash the container so well, you smell it, it still smells garlic. That subtle smell like garlic, that is the cognitive obscurations. Metaphor of the cognitive obscurations within your mind. How to remove them? We have to know the nature of these mental developments, and the nature of mental developments boil down to the ignorance, self-grasping ignorance, and giving us all the offshoots and the subtle stains of the self-grasping ignorance. So knowing that somehow they are all related to self-grasping ignorance, we need to introduce a counter force, very powerful counter force. And this counter force, none other than wisdom of emptiness. That's amazing. This wisdom of emptiness is known as the liberating path. And this is the only liberating path. But even if you have a very sharp axe, if the woodcutter is lazy, does not have the enthusiasm, then no matter how sharp the axe is, this axe cannot be used to cut the trees. It will just keep lying there. So this must be used by the woodcutter who has a tremendous enthusiasm. And if the poisonous tree is smaller, then the enthusiasm required is less. But if the poison tree is so hard for the last innumerable of times, that of the cognitive obscurations and the affective obscurations, then the Bodhisattva must have a tremendously powerful enthusiasm. And the greatest enthusiasm is the bodhicitta, unconditional love for bodhicitta, desire to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. And to have this bodhicitta, it must be supported by renunciation, the desire to get away from miseries for yourself. Only when you have that experience, you can extend this to others, to make it to bodhicitta. So in other words, these three things are referred to as the three principal aspects of the path. So alongside, we can have the single point of meditation or the shamatha meditation to stabilize these experiences. So with this background knowledge of why you are doing Dharma, what is Dharma, with this mind, imagine that you are leading this practice and all your dear medicines media joining us, and all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas there watching us. Okay, let us turn to page 3. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Sanye Jeva Zoge Chanamla Chanje Vado Dane Gyapso Che Dage Jinso Kebe Sonam Tola Denge Sanye Rubareshu Sanye Jeva Zoge Chanamla Chanje Vado Dane Gyapso Che Dage Jinso Kebe Sonam Ge Tola Denge Sanye Rubareshu Sanye Jeva Zoge Chonam Chandra Bado Dane Gyapso Che Dage Jinso I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, by my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened Sangha, by my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha, and departed origination, there is no ceasing, no rising, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, no sameness. I prostrate to the confident Buddha, the supreme of all teachers, the one who taught this peace with the trade of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who wish through the knowledge of all needs, hearing, speaking, causes or seven migrants that achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subdue and expand a variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, survivor, and protector to you and your illustrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I jam the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om Yedharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Te Shandakagate Havatat Desham Chayo Niroda Evam Bhati Mahashamanaye Swam Om Yedharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Te Shandakagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodam Evam Vati Maha Shamanaye Swaha. Om Yevam Hatum Te Shambhata Gato Yevatat Te Sham Chayo Nirodham Evam Vati Mahashamanaye Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The same causes as well as taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-eyed and non-composite. Such is the nectar of Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one could fathom this teaching in silence of eternal words. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the professional wisdom, which is unborn, unsees and has the initial space. Is already the apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddha, so 3 times our obeisance. The 4 seeds of the Buddha's teachings, all composite things impermanent. All phenomena of the nature of emptiness and selflessness, transcending sorrows, peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is also everything wholesome, a good for acquisition the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their misery. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of 4 directions to shine light of Dharma for all evil and misery's gloom. Instructions on parting from the 4 attachments. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. So this part, I would like to quickly explain this instruction on parting from the 4 attachments. So we see that there are a number of layers taught there. The first layer says that if you're attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. So in the first place, that say people can be classified into 2. One who is just obsessed with this life, and one who can think beyond this life, next life, and further. This life is somehow, generally speaking, this life, except under a very dire situation, you can manage. Even the dogs, they manage. Even the cats, they manage. So why do you have to really worry about too much about this life? And but it doesn't mean that forget about this life. You work on the next life. We should be very realistic. And if it's like Jesus Milarepa, who is already prepared for many lifetimes, for him it's fine. He can quit. He can just give up, or let's say, let go of this life, and then embark on the journey just to take care of the next life, the nirvana and Buddhahood. But for us, we should be very realistic to have this potential. Yet, if we don't have it, we should strike a balance. Take care of this life. Also, not to forget next life. So, the moment you take care of this life and also think of the next life. When you think of the next life means has nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with power. It's about your own virtues. So naturally, you'll become more tuned to law of karma. Okay, next life means my virtues. Virtues, only if you consider law of karma as very efficacious, very important, you will engage in actions in line with the law of karma, what the law of karma dictates. Be virtuous, happiness will follow. Be non-virtuous, miseries will follow. So this is the law of the nature. So it is okay, I'm thinking about next life. I cannot buy something for next life. I cannot use the political power to next life. It is only through your virtues. Then naturally the person will become more calm, more compassionate. So this is layer 1. Then which means that after that, at time that you don't have to fear. So next life is guaranteed because you are prepared. You've been preparing the conducive courses for your favorable birth next time and favorable situations next time. This one. So once you're there, then the next is, then you become more matured. Okay, I'm prepared for the next life. Then what about next life? Of 100 lifetimes, of 1,000 lifetimes, what? That I cannot prepare now. So the wise people, why should I have to worry about this, that? Then of course, again, anytime go into the lower realms. Again, anytime, again suffer. Anytime again be trapped in the war zones. So after 1,000 lifetimes, even if I'm prepared for the next life, immediate next life, but about 1,000 lifetimes. So why have to worry about these things? It's all because that I have to take birth in samsara. Why have to come in samsara in the first place? Then you become more mature in thinking to see how to cut your coming to samsara, so that you don't worry about. For example, let's say that there is a poisonous tree there, and then the wind blows and you have skin rashes from the wind blowing through the poisonous tree, again the spring comes, wind blows, the leaves grows, and then the other have skin rashes. Then again you chop the if you don't chop it, you continue to have the skin rashes. It's so disturbing, so painful. And somebody tells you, so this is because of this poisonous leaves. Remove the poisonous leaves. I see. Then you become more than just this hand, my hand, poisonous tree. You could see a little further away. Then remove the leaves. Oh, you are rested. Wow, now it's drying. Now the skin rashes are going away. I'm relieved. Again next year, the spring, again the more leaves grow. Again the skin rashes again come back. Then you don't mention, okay, now this is from this, but this is what I did last time, it was temporary. Now I have to look for a permanent solution. What do you do? Uproot this tree, poisonous tree. You uproot the tree, then you don't worry. It's coming back again and again and again. I have to come back to samsara again and again and again. I don't worry about it. Cut the samsara altogether. Cut the self-grasping ignorance. Stop the dream of self-grasping ignorance of the samsara. Okay, so it's number 2. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. Meaning that if you are attached to samsara in ways of, say, next life, this is the second layer. The first life is this life. Now you have become a little more mature to think about next life. And even if you think of next life, only this, not thinking of going away from samsara altogether, to cut, thinking about samsara altogether. That is number 2. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. Number 2 is renunciation, to cut and leave samsara altogether, so that you don't have to worry about any time again, after many lifetimes, again have to come back to samsara, tears will again continue. So, it says that the cut your samsara together, that is a pure renunciation. Number 3, now, with the renunciation, you cut the samsara, you have the fearlessness, but you don't have the expansive happiness. See, in the container, you're going to remove the solid garlic, but it still smells garlic. You remove the garlic, you wash it so well, it still smells garlic. But this is not your true nature. Why don't you activate the true nature where you are totally fearless and you have infinite happiness? Why not? So this infinite happiness comes to you where all the metal stains, including the solid garlic-like smells and solid garlic-like metal defilements and the smell-like metal defilements, all are removed. So number 3 says, if you attach your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. So the smell garlic, it is manifested in the form of selfishness, self-centered attitude. If you have self-centered attitude, then you don't have the bodhicitta. So the number 1 and 2 together is the renunciation. Number 1 is the preparation for renunciation. Number 2 is the actual renunciation. Number 2 is the bodhicitta. So you think of working for all the sentient beings. That allows you to expand your heart. compassion, leaving room for infinite happiness. So, but in bodhicitta, both are aspirations. May I be freed from samsara. May I become Buddha. These two are aspirations. Aspirations means that the two aspirations have to be materialized. How to materialize? Materialize these two goals, these two aspirations, is by cleansing the mental defilements. What cleanses the mental defilements? What is the only liberating path? What is the only liberating path? The wisdom of emptiness. So number 4, because the wisdom of emptiness. If there's grasping of objective existence, you do not have the correct view of the wisdom of emptiness. So these, say the first one is preparation. Preparation meaning that in the loving teaching, this is known as the teaching of the small scope person. Teaching of small scope person, that you should think of like beyond this. If you think of like beyond this, you become a spiritual practitioner. Just like this life, you know, even if you are gentle, very wise, respected, but you're not a spiritual person. What is a spiritual person? The moment you are able to think beyond this life, you're a spiritual person, number 1. Number 2, not only beyond life, beyond samsara, that is renunciation. Then, not only beyond samsara for yourself, but for all the sentient beings, with infinite bodhicitta, that is number 3, bodhicitta. How to materialize the aspirations of these, the goals of these two aspirations? By the wisdom of emptiness. So we see that the 3 principal parts are there with the preliminary teaching. So the first one, the teaching related to the first one is known as the teaching for the small scope person, second one teaching for the middle scope person, and the third and the fourth for teaching of the great scope person. You're getting it? So this constitutes the numbering. Okay, so this is coming from a Sakya teaching, Sakya. So like when you go to the Kagyu teaching, Nyingma teaching, you see the same structure. And Guru teaching, same structure. So this is how the wise people approach the path to your own benefit. Okay, we'll see this again together. Instruction on parting from the attachments. If you're attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you're attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you're attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there's grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, page 14. Page 2, Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed founder and destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subdued from the Shakya clan, are prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When O Supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you place our 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, with motion like a golden mountain, filled their blazes in the 3 worlds, win of the best, Lord, to you are prostrate. With a supreme science, the field of merit with the qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata prostrate. The purity that flows from attachment, the virtue that flows from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Rama that pacifies the prostrate. Those who are liberated then also show the path to liberation, who feel qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sun are prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, but from only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these matters, may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing. Subdue the 4 faults and be delivered from samsara's ocean. perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. On the Heart Sutra, page 29. I proceeded to the Aryatubal Chen. Thus did I hear at one time, the Buddha was dwelling on Mars of Vultures mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena for profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arvaduteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom and beheld those five entities also as the empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arvaduteshvara: how should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of profound professional wisdom train? Said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound professional wisdom train should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those five entities also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, and is the form, and is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composite factors are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, not seen, not efficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to any including element. There is no ignorance, no extension of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging in death, and no extinction of aging in death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and power. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom. The mind without obscuration and thus without fear, having completely passed beyond era, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifested completely awakened, unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mother of the perfection of wisdom, the mother of great knowledge, unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to unequaled, mother of the thought which pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is known as false. The mother of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Yata Om Gade Gade Bara Gade Bara Sam Gade Bodhi Soham. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Buddha arose from that concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arvaduteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you indicated, even that the Tathagata has rejoiced. The Buddha having thus spoken, then Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arvaduteshvara, those surrounding the entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, would overjoyed and highly praised that is spoken by the Buddha. Oh yes, we recite this Hasura mantra. Imagine that you are in the Rajgir, where the Buddha Shakyamuni, his son Dalai Lama, Arvaduteshvara, Shariputra, and all the Buddha's bodhisattvas are there, just right in front of you, and you are just in the first row there. Your parents, your children, all the family members, and all the creatures in the world, in the sea, in the wilderness, everywhere, the human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, hell beings, God and goddess, spirits, everyone, they're with you. And imagine that the Buddha Shakyamuni is exhorting us thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara, come to his ultimate happiness, awaken your Buddha nature, and await the experience, the total fearlessness, infinite happiness. And you hearing what the Buddha Shakyamuni is exhorting us, you then inform this all, your dear messenger makes. Look, this is what a compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni is exhorting us. Let us not remain in fears of samsara anymore. Let us all go to us full awakening by awakening see the perfection within you, and everybody feels so inspired with so much of hope, and they join you to undertake this journey of cleansing the mind of mental defilements. The Buddha is awakened to experience finally your mind finds rest in peace, and absolute peace. fearlessness, and infinite joy. By the teachings of the true Supreme Jewels possessing power of truth, may inner and outer existence be transformed, may they be dispelled, may they be non-existent, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed with the Dharma be completely pacified, may the hosts of 80,000 of seals be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, may all special sense of perfect happiness pervade this place now. Okay, 8 verses of mind training to subdue the ego and boost our self-confidence by Geshe. With the determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, sorry, it is on page 35. Page 35. Page 35. 8 verses for training the mind by Geshe. With the determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may I hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may view myself as the greatest amongst all, and from the very depths of my heart, respectfully hold others as superior. In all my deeds, may I pray within my mind, and as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as I endanger myself and others, I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character and those oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, I hold them dear for their rare to find as if I have discovered a jewel treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrong with abuse, slander and scorn, I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I have held or in whom I place great hopes mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, I regard him still as my precious teacher. In brief, may I offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May I remain undefiled by the stains of the 8 mundane concerns, and may I recognize in all things as illusions, devoid of clinging, be released from bondage. From my recollections, vast space that I've amassed, from working with that, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds dismiss blinded by ignorance. Okay, next 7 puja. This is the personal practice. The practice is to prepare us to undertake this journey of enlightenment. I bow down to the youthful Arya Manjushri, you the Buddhas, the lions amongst humans, gone to freedom in the present, past and future, in the words of 10 directions. To all of you with body, speech and sincere mind, I bow down. With the energy of aspiration for our Bodhisattva way, with a sense of deep respect, and with as many bodies as that into the world, to all you Buddhas visualize as real, I bow down. On every particle of Buddhas, numberless as atoms, each amidst the host of Bodhisattvas, and I'm confident the fear is entirely filled with the Buddhas in this way. With the infinite oceans of praise for you, and oceans of sound from the aspects of my voice, I sing the breathtaking excellence of Buddhas and celebrate all of you Sugadas. Beautiful flowers and guided gardens, sweet music, scented oils and parasols, sparkling lights and sublime incense, offer to the tourist ones the Buddhas. Fine dress and fragrant perfumes, sandalwood powder, all wonders offered to the tourist ones. With transcendent offerings, prayers and vows, with profound admiration for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction in the Bodhisattva way, offer and bow down to all victorious ones. Every harmful action I've done with my body, speech and mind, all my attachment, anger and ignorance, all these are openly laid bare before you. I lift my heart and rejoice in all the merits of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions. The solitary realizers here still training and those beyond, and of all ordinary beings. You are the bright lives of the worlds in 10 directions. You have attained the Buddha's omniscience through the stage of awakening. All you who are my guides, please turn the supreme will of Dharma. With palms together, I earnestly request you who may actualize parinirvana. Please stay with us for eons, numberless as atoms of the world. Whatever slight merit I may have accumulated, by making prostrations, offerings, and confessing, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddha still teach, I might dedicate all this for the full awakening of all beings. What's your mandal offering? Next page, page 40. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers and adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha filled and offered. May all sentient beings attain the pure land. O the 4 dhammas of Venerable Kambupa. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practices on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is fulfilled flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. The 4 dhammas of Venerable Bhikshu Mahasattva, becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps with true existence, please bless me with genuine renunciation, seeing all as with samsara as visually repulsive. That my mind soon overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please that in my experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come to being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind soon overflows with the precious freedom, wisdom of non-duality, bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Ranam Mandalavam Nirateyami. Okay, the next page, Foundation of all good qualities, which is the roadmap to enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and perfect Guru. Correct devotion in Guru Path. By clearly seeing this and applying is best with a love and with great respect. virtues come before them. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful to pardon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable, seeking them to draw to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me with genuine strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, allowed by in great caution and wise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into sea of samsara, so for all Mother my created beings, please bless me to see this training Supreme Bodhicitta and bear the responsibility of freeing my created beings. Even if I develop Bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I not achieve enlightenment. Please bless me to practice the Bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distraction to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate the equilibrium within my mind stream, the unified part of karma abiding special inside. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme treasure of eagles. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the true attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I have become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and bless them in life. Then having realized the importance of the two stages, as of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never give up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. I have that may the Gurus who show the noble path, especially friends who practice of the long lives, please bless me to pacify completely all out any inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separate from perfect Gurus, enjoy the manifesting Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages of the paths and who attain the state of Vajradhara. You are the Devoteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Majishri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of hordes of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages will land his nose, rest on top of my dear feet and make prostrations. Okay, next actual practice, which is referred to as generating the mind of consequent yoga. In Tibetan, Tamje Neju Sem Okay. For this verse, it is 4 parts: single point meditation or shamatha meditation, renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom, and emptiness. 4. So first we'll do the single point meditation for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and the 4 points to keep in mind: body posture, focal point, identifying the errors of meditation and applying the remedies to overcome the errors. And for the body posture, backbone upright is very important, eyes not closed. Then for the focal point, counting the breath and visualizing the tiny dot between your upper lip. And the errors, mental laxity and mental excitement. And what remedies? Remedies, what are they? Introspection and mindfulness. Good. So these are not to be missed with this mind 5 minutes. Next renunciation, again the same thing, what we did yesterday. This is not again a ritual, this is not a ritual, and how I'm giving you the instructions, eventually each one of us will be able to engage in these reflections by yourself, not having to depend on somebody else. And sometimes with the recordings, you can take this recording and then you can listen to this and then follow the instructions, do meditation. Later on, you must be self-sufficient. You must not every time depend on external instructions. Okay, so to learn how to do that, instruction given, and see if you can remember these instructions even later on, not just now. Okay, ready? Yeah? Oh. So today, which means anyone who is not here. Thank you. Okay. With this in mind, ready? Just follow the instructions and don't try to correlate with what instruction that is being given here, with what we've learned before, read before. And if you want to correlate, you can correlate later on after the practice. Okay. Renunciation. Renunciation means to renounce your miseries. Renounce the causes of miseries, not to renounce the happiness. To renounce your miseries. To renounce the miseries, we need to know how to renounce the causes of the miseries. The Buddha indicated, Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these phenomena are some causes. Hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat. What these causes are, what all these causes are, is indicated by the Tathagata. So to renounce the causes of miseries, we need to know what these causes are. To renounce miseries, we need to know we need to know how to renounce causes of miseries, and for that we need to know what the causes are. While there's so many causes, contaminant karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, and the self-grasping ignorance, Buddha, at the core, Buddha identified the ignorance. And 4 the layers of ignorance, 4 levels of ignorance are identified as the cause of the miseries. The ignorance viewing impermanent phenomena as permanent, ignorance viewing miseries as happiness, ignorance viewing impure things as pure, ignorance viewing what is devoid of self as of selfhood, as objective real. To counter these 4 kinds of ignorance, Buddha taught the 4 seals. The first, that all composite things are impermanent. Composite things, meaning what is composed of parts, what is composed of are the directional parts or special parts, parts in space and parts in time. Directional parts and temporal parts. What are constituted of these two things? Any of these two things should necessarily be impermanent. And this impermanence, two connotations, gross and subtle. Gross, the gross one, the impermanent phenomena whose continuum terminates. Subtle one, the momentariness. It's so important for us to reflect on both, beginning with the gross, impermanence of death, impermanence of sickness, where they put the dot. Whatever gathers will disperse. Yes, we gathered the 6 days ago, and then by today evening or tomorrow we're going to disperse. What is accumulated will exhaust. What stands falls. What is born dies. This is reality. This is the impermanence. We think about this, then we will not live in the illusion of the illusory deception of viewing things as so permanent. Yourself is permanent, your house is permanent, everything is so permanent, and on that basis continue to fight and so forth, rather than thinking of, oh, one day I have to leave, I have to prepare for the next, not being obsessed with this life. From this, the gross impermanence, we can see that this gross impermanence is possible only if there's subtler changes happening. Change that you see in you, in you who are 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. This change that happened over the span of the last number of years is possible only if the change is happening on a yearly basis, monthly basis, weekly basis, daily basis, hourly basis, minute by minute basis, second by second basis, millisecond by millisecond basis, nanosecond by nanosecond basis. Okay, which means that the change is so fast, momentariness. Yes, the change that you see, obvious change that you see is possible only if there's a subtler change happening within the momentariness or the transitoriness of this object. Yes, that's true. Which means that our eyes fail to see the impermanent nature of all the composite phenomena. We only see the very gross impermanence. That's true. The reality that exists as a momentariness is something which is very much obscured in the eyes of in your eyes, which is so limited. Which means that all the composite things, including my body, the house I live in, the food that I eat, the people that I interact with, you say that, oh, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my child, this is my husband, this is my wife, and so forth. So this is all transitory. Yes, it's very scary. So transitoriness meaning that the composite phenomena don't remain even for a millisecond. It changes moment by moment. Yes, changes moment by moment, meaning that minimum there are three moments: the earlier moment, the present moment, and the past, the future moment. What the present moment is determined by the early moment, or the future moment is going to be determined by the present moment. So here comes the concept of the law of cause and effect, and within that, where the intentions involved, it involves the law of karma. So within the law of karma has it such that they say if the cause is negative, the results are so painful. And in that case, where the body, the mind, everything moves so fast, where it's a very fast moving train, like the self is taking me where? It is determined by the cause. What's the cause? What's the driver, the train driver? The train driver decides. If the train driver's mother or father will take you to a picnic spot, whereas if it's under the dictate of the terrorists, it only takes us to the slaughterhouse. In a case, the driver's mind, unfortunately, that is under the dictate of the contaminations, and particularly the worst of the contaminations, self-grasping ignorance, and then offshoots, inappropriate tension, afflictions, and contaminant karmas. As long as our mind is under the influence by contamination, it will only take us to miseries. This is the second seal. All contaminated things are suffering nature. What kind of suffering? Sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish. Listen to the stories of the individuals, other people. Everyone has a very sad story to share, extremely sad story to share. I lost my mother, I lost my father, I lost my child, I lost my husband, I lost my wife, and so forth. And I'm suffering from cancer, I'm suffering from this ailment, that ailment, and so forth. Extremely painful. In fact, one moment of such a pain is good enough to nullify all the past moments of merriments, festivities, celebrations, birthday parties, and so forth. One moment is good enough to nullify all the past, what we call as the wonderful days, memorable days. They're all just so shallow, hollow, meaningless, gloomy in the eyes of one moment of tragedy experience. That's true. So the fact that we have taken birth so innumerable times, which means that we've gone through tears innumerable times, we shed tears of seeing the death of near and dear ones, seeing the death, going through your own death, and so forth, in endless, incessant shedding tears happened all along. Yes, it's very tiring. When will this stop? When will these tears stop altogether? They will never stop. These miseries will never stop until you put a concerted effort. What kind of effort? Effort to curb the ultimate cause of suffering. What is the ultimate cause of suffering? Self-grasping ignorance. How do you remove this? Introduce the counterforce, which is the wisdom. What is the wisdom? Wisdom, by the very definition, is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. What's the reality? The reality is what the Buddha indicated in the third seal, that everything is the nature of selflessness and emptiness. Okay, let's quickly meditate on emptiness. Now, today, we'll meditate on emptiness of someone who you love so much, your mom, your dad, your husband, your wife, your child, whoever. Let's meditate on emptiness of that. And then when you really feel that this person is empty, yes, a tinge of fear can come to you, but don't be too emotional. This is attachment, underlying which is a self-grasping ignorance, and this ignorance is responsible for creating all these tears. So while meditating on this, and the one that you love so much disappears, dissolves in this experience, a tinge of fear can come in you. And practice is more, then your attachment subside, your love and affection will increase. It will not subside your love and affection. Attachment will be subsided, but your love and affection, embrace, attention, all will keep increasing towards this person. Actually, it's better for the person, better for yourself. Okay, ready? Just think of that person who you love so much. And how does this person appear to you? That is in lieu of the essential of identified object negation. How does this person appear to you? Like a dream? Or so nothing like a dream, is so objectively, so solidly there. Of course, so solidly there, so objectively there. This belief that this person is objectively there, this is self-grasping ignorance, and this is responsible for all your miseries. Okay, how do you know that this person doesn't exist objectively? How do you know that? Remember what Nagarjuna said. If the mirage were to be water, One of those close by the mirage sea water. Let me repeat it. If the mirage were to be water, one of those close by the mirage sea water. If this person to whom I love so much were exist objectively, why don't I see this person as a go closest object? Okay, let us now go closer to object by subjecting this person to ultimate analysis. Subject this person to ultimate analysis, just ignore all those things which are not this person. We are only interested to look for the objective existence, the person whom we love so much. Subject this person to ultimate analysis, we see very thin layers of skin, behind that the fatty tissues, behind that the muscles, cartilages, and alongside the whole skeleton, the heart, the lungs, the liver, pancreas, intestine, stomach, gallbladder. All these solid parts of this person constitute element of earth. And in fact, that none of the element of earth of this person is to be identified objectively as the person. Okay, this. And water, 4 liters of blood which is pumped in and out by the heart of the person to different parts of the body, even that's also not this person. Element of air, element of fire, 2,600 joules of energy of this person's body. Of course, that is not that person. Element of air, 4.6 liters of air that this person breathes in and out through his or her lungs. Of course, that is not this person. What's left in space? Element space, 99.99% of the body of that person is space. But the space is vacuum in nature, and this person is solid in nature. So the space is also not this person. What is left? Now the mind of the person is left, consciousness of the person is left. If there's element of consciousness, it's also not this person. I can see this person, I can't see this person's mind. And so that also that this person is male, female, but the mind does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of the body. So this mind or the element of consciousness is also not this person. Okay. Now with the eyes of this ultimate analysis, what do you see? I just see the 6 elements of this person. Which of the 6 elements is to be identified as objectively as one, intrinsically as one with a person? None. Okay, if none of these 6 elements are to be intrinsically one, found as intrinsically one with that person, just see if it exists as different from the 6 elements. Remove 6 elements, what is left? Nothing is left. So that is the sense of understanding of the entities or objects being different from its parts. And this is the only two alternatives for this person to exist objectively. And both alternatives are ruled out. So now from the object, what is there as this person? Where is this person? Is totally non-existent in our ultimate analysis. Simply because a person is non-existent in our ultimate analysis doesn't mean that it's non-existent. It is non-existent objectively, but subjectively it does exist. In our of the conventional analysis, it does exist. But what we're looking for is we're looking for objective existence itself, the person, and it's totally empty. A tinge of a fear can come to you, and the tingling sensations come to you, can flow through your mind, through your body. Stay in this experience for a while. That's amazing. It's so powerful exercise and meditation. But what's the benefit of this meditation? Yes, just as this person to whom I love so much dissolves in this experience, if I subject all my misery, sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, your cancer illness, the tendency for us to die, and to meet with accidents and so forth, when we subject all these things to ultimate analysis, the way we did to the loved one, all this will be likewise dissolve. The moment these agitations, these pains dissolve, these sorrows dissolve, your mental disturbance dissolve. Mental disturbance dissolve, the peace is restored, peace dawns, a very profound, reliable peace dawns. This is the meaning of the 4th seal. Transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Okay, stay in this experience of the peace. then create a very strong aspiration. May I be able to abide in this experience of emptiness where all my miseries dissolve and the peace is experienced. This aspiration is known as renunciation. Aspiration, wanting to experience, wanting to abide in the experience of the emptiness, where all my miseries and sorrows are transcended, they dissolve, and you experience ultimate peace. Okay, slowly come out of this practice. Come out. Okay, next bodhicitta. For the bodhicitta, we will do the four immeasurables. And later on, once you learn how to do the two methods, practice the two methods, then particularly when you are by yourself, you have to do these two methods. Don't feel complacent with the four immeasurables. Do the four immeasurables must be, but the main practice must be these two methods. Sevenfold causative method to generate bodhicitta, and the method of equalizing and exchanging self others to generate bodhicitta. These two methods must be done. Okay, ready? For the bodhicitta practice, we require so much of support from all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us, and so loving, caring, and embracing. And you are surrounded by your two parents, your children, and all dear mother sentient beings. They also join you in this practice of bodhicitta. Four immeasurables. And these practices, at times you may feel that they're so superficial, my mind really doesn't resonate with these reflections or the practices. Don't worry, this is how we practice music. Initially, for the first time when you put your fingers on the keyboard, no music comes out. It's just a very random sound, noise comes out. And only through doing it over and over again, eventually it becomes a very beautiful music. Likewise, this practice can be very superficial, and do it consistently with the heart in this, and gradually it becomes so beautiful practice. Okay. Immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The causes of happiness primarily consisting of the wisdom of the most fearless wisdom of emptiness and the most appealing mind of the bodhicitta. May all my dear mother sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the cause of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing the remake is such a courageous commitment, like a mother of all these many years of hardship in raising her children. Today, the eldest daughter just aged 12, and the eldest son just aged 11. Two of them come to the mother, telling the mother, "Mother, please take rest. You've done everything for us. You love us so much. We love you so much. Now we're grown up. We'll take over all our siblings." And the mother, despite this very young, tender age of these children, the mother could not believe her eyes and ears. She's lost into tears of joy. This is exactly what happens to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They feel so proud of you today that you're taking the responsibility of the sentient beings. And this part and happiness of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they invoke the compassion of omniscient minds to send forth nectars very soothing lights to you and all different sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies of beings to yours instills in all happiness and cause of happiness within you and all the different sentient beings. And you witnessing such a miraculous happiness towards all the different sentient beings, you intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my human sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. The cause of suffering primarily consists of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. The Buddha's Bodhisattva is witnessing the making such courage commitment to the intense happiness and proud of you. This part happiness invoke the compassion of niche minds to send for nectars very soothing lights towards you and all demon sentient beings. The mere touch of lights nectars with the bodies beings yours, washes of all the miseries and the cause of miseries from all the demon sentient beings yourself. And you witnessing such miracles happening to us all, the sentient beings, you are intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sound with relief. Immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my demon sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the cause of the happiness that they're endowed with. May all my dear mother sentient beings never be separated from happiness and the cause of the happiness that they're endowed with. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the cause of the happiness that they're endowed with. The Buddha's Bodhisattva is witnessing the making such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness and proud of you. This light and happiness invoke the compassion of niche minds to the center of nectars, the soothing lights towards you and all demon sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies beings yours stabilizes the happiness and causes the happiness that the beings endowed with. And you witnessing such a miracle happening towards all the demon sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sound with relief. Next, immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my demon sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of the excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other demon sentient beings equally, leaving none aside. May all my demon sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other demon sentient beings equally. I will take the responsibility that all my demon sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to some and aversion towards others. The Buddha's Bodhisattva is witnessing the making such a courageous commitment, they intensely happy and proud of you, that they proudly deem the happiness within them, invoke their compassion of niche minds to send the nectars with soothing lights towards you and all demon sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies beings yours frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead making them abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other demon sentient beings equally, leaving them aside. You, witnessing such a miracle happening towards all of demon sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sound with relief. Underscoring all the four vegetables is unconditional love towards all the general sentient beings. Just abundance, experience of unconditional love. This unconditional love towards all the beings, this is root cause of your full awakening, of your attaining Buddhahood. That's amazing, so precious. And imagine that you look in the eyes of each of the sentient beings, reassuring them that I'm there to take care of you. And each of the sentient beings, they feel themselves so special in your eyes. Okay, with folded hands, let us make a bodhicitta commitment together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. This bodhicitta, this is the most beautiful mind that can possibly exist in the whole entire universe. So precious. And slowly transform this beautiful mind of bodhicitta into a spotlessly clean moon disk, horizontally sitting with the heart. Okay, that's amazing that you made such a close commitment to bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, that's amazing, to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. But do you know that no matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil comes out of that. Yes, I know that. I'm not a handful of sunflower seeds. Instead, I'm not like a handful of sand. Instead, I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which oil does come out. There's a potential of the oil within the sunflower seeds. I have the potential within me, the seed of perfection, seed of Buddhahood within me. But how come that is not activated since time immemorial till now? Yes, that's very true. It's all because that I'm being deceived by these two demons, self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude thus far, and today I'm disillusioned by these two demons, and no more, these two are my friends. I will do everything to exterminate the two demons. How will you do that? But it's also a very powerful remedy. What remedy? The wisdom of emptiness, the most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness. What is that like? Let's quickly retrieve the experience of the wisdom of emptiness which we meditated, related to you. There's somebody who loves you so much, as the third seal, as a part of the four seals. Okay, let's quickly think of this person who you love so much. Okay. Subjecting this person to ultimate analysis, you end up seeing 6 elements: herb, water, fire, space, consciousness. Okay. Now tell me, in our ultimate analysis, which of the 6 elements is this person to be identified one with the person? None. And then if not the 6 elements, see if it is different from the 6 elements. Remove the 6 elements, what is there as a person? Nothing's there as the person who I love so much. Nowhere to be seen. What's the conclusion? From the object, there's nothing to be identified as the person who I love so much. This is the discovery that you're making. This is not what your mind is fabricating. This is not what your mind is fabricating. It's simply the discovery that you're making. You're discovering this. This has been the reality since beginner's time, but we're being deceived by this self-grasping ignorance to view this person as objectively all the time. And today I've discovered the reality. So precious. Goosebumps can come in the body. A tickling sensation can happen. Cold waves can flow through your bodies, through the skin of your body, and fear can come. If a tinge of fear does come, you're really fortunate. Don't be scared. Doing this practice over and over again, this fear will be replaced by acute tranquility. Okay, so this wisdom, to see that nothing exists objectively, this is the liberating path. This is the only liberating path, accompanied by the bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness. slowly transform this most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness into a spotlessly clean Vajra, thumb-sized white Vajra, vertically sitting on the moon next to your heart. Okay, that's amazing. Now you have the moon, symbolic of conventional bodhicitta. The mind wishing to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings, which is like the main trunk of enlightenment. And the Vajra is symbolic of the ultimate bodhicitta, and the non-dual wisdom of emptiness present in the Arya Bodhisattvas. This guarantees us to eradicate all the afflictive obscurations as well as karmic obscurations. Thereby your Buddha nature is going to be manifested in the full form, in the form of full Buddhahood. Amazing. Yes, let us not forget that why this is reality happening so positive, so precious. Let's not forget your two parents, your children, and all of family members, and all the dear sentient beings. They are suffering so much. Yes, I know that. You generate intense compassion towards all the dear sentient beings. And this compassion invokes the Vajramuni in the heart to multiply infinite number of times. Share one side of the Vajramuni at the heart of your mother, one side at the heart of the father, one side with each one of your children, one side with each one of family members, one side with each of the creatures, animals, insects, human beings here in this assembly, one with each of the sentient beings in the world, in the Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe. Now all the sentient beings, all these trillions of creatures in the oceans, in the forest, in the wilderness, everyone, the spirits, Holy Ghost, helpings, everyone has this Vajra moon as a gift from you. Amazing, precious, amazing. Now they as well are going to be protected. They as well eventually we're going to experience the fearless and infinite happiness. Yes. Let's not forget, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they are watching us with so much of pride and happiness. Why not we request the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to be the witness and our guest in undertaking the ceremony of taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. As a gesture making request to this to all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, along with all demons and beings, let us slowly stand up to make true prostrations to all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. On your right knees, see if you can sit on your right knees. The pain in your legs, then at that point then you can sit in the most comfortable position. It should not disturb, this pain should not disturb your the ceremony of taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And anyone, it doesn't matter if you are a Buddhist or not Buddhist, it doesn't matter, anybody can take this aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And so there's no particular the commitment there. This is just to activate your compassion, the seed of compassion. Everybody has the seed of compassion. So this will help us activate that. And those who do feel that I must generate bodhicitta, this is going to be a great opportunity for us to feel that. Okay, so with this mind, let's turn to page 50. And yesterday I already explained the meanings. Let us make sure that the meanings are reflected as we recite these lines. And imagine the old Buddhas, Bodhisattvas there watching us. For example, say, just imagine that you as a little girl and you as a little boy, age 5 or 6, for the first time in your life, you are making a public appearance on behalf of your school, and your parents are so proud. Whatever they have to do that day, they will just leave behind everything and join the audience, waving their hands to you, saying that we are so proud, we're there. We're there with you, and you seeing your parents, you're so happy, you're a little nervous because this is the first time in your life making public appearance. So this is exactly all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas like your parents, they're watching us with so much excitement, love, affection, care. And you for the first time, you're doing this, taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow from all the innumerable past lifetimes. Today, it is like this child for the first time making a public appearance on behalf of the school. This is what they're doing on behalf of all the sentient beings. Okay, and you, all the demon sentient beings, like you being the eldest child, and then you bring all your siblings, younger ones, to you with you to take this bodhisattva vow. So imagine that you are visualizing all the sentient beings, like your siblings, younger ones, to do this incredibly virtuous deeds of taking the aspiring bodhisattva with you, and they also feel so inspired by you. So we take this aspiring bodhisattva together. I'll go for a refuge to the triple gem. I'll confess the negativities individually. I'll rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I'll hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, peace be he to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will join the amount of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, peace be he to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will join the amount of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, peace be he to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will join the amount of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Just feel the joy of having received the aspiring Bodhisattva vow. Just feel this joy. You're very fortunate indeed, so fortunate, so meritorious. Just imagine that the mother of all these many years of receiving complaint from the school about you as a little girl, as a you as a little boy, that your son is very mischievous, your daughter is very mischievous, complaints coming from the school. Today for the first time, the school principal comes escorted by the school other teachers, and again the mother is very apprehensive, what kind of complaint? And the school principal said, no, we came here to congratulate you. For what? Your son and your daughter, both of them are selected as the best students of this school for this year. The mother could not believe her eyes and ears of all these many years of receiving complaints. Today hearing something so pleasant. This is exactly what is happening to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So after all these innumerable lifetimes of we being like very mischievous small boys and girls bringing complaints to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that we are doing bad things here, negative karmas here, there and so forth, while the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they wish that we do something virtuous, that we don't have to suffer, and yet we just did the opposite. And today we did something so different, which the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas felt so proud of, like the way the mother felt so proud. This is the day that you have created for all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, for the first time for them to sigh with relief. Wow, that's amazing. And this is the greatest gift to all the demon sentient beings. More than anything, this is a gift. This is the most precious gift for all the demon sentient beings, to take them to the fearlessness, state of fearlessness, infinite happiness. And today you've gifted them with this gift. And of all the offerings that you can make to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the Buddha very clearly indicated that of all the offerings, imagine the whole universe filled with gems, and offer them to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. But one moment of genuine compassion that far excels the offering of the universe filled with gems offered all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. If this were to be the case, what you mentioned of our having taken the aspiration Bodhisattva vow today, this is so precious. And today you have made this offering to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the best of the offerings that you can think of. And out of all what we did in this life, in the past life, and today in this life, we see that this is the greatest meaning of your life, and today you extract this meaning. And all these wonders are happening because of the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, let us stand up to make 3 prostrations along with all demon sentient beings. So what we did now, of course, is very auspicious very precious, a great opportunity. And then the same thing happens, that to make this happen, the next life as well, in the future lives as well, we include them in a very powerful, prayer, which can be filled well. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by compassion Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in the course of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in the course of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in the course of my life. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have listened to these and awaken the mind of bodhicitta in this way should have a place in the following manner. Today my life has borne through, having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddha, and now I'm one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like blind men discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. It is supreme ambrosia that overcomes the certainty of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. Is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease, is the truth that shelters all beings wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence, is the universal bliss that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth, is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions, is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world, it is the quintessence of butter through the journey of the middle of Dharma. For all those guys traveling on the path of conditioned existence, who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors and by the world to be guests at a festival of temple in the ultimate delight, may gods, demigods, and all be joyful. Okay, dedication prayer now. So with this, let us dedicate. No doubt we have become the last 5 days and this morning's the practice. No doubt we have become so much of merit, virtues, and let's dedicate this for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth today, and who is the bright eyes to let the people see the things more realistically, and he is the promoting the education of the heart, the universal ethics, social, the emotional ethical learning, learning. So under the broad umbrella of universal ethics, that the future leaders coming from this education, they will not believe in war, that they will believe only in dialogue. They will believe only in handshake. They will believe only in friendship and embracing each other rather than creating war and creating walls. So let us pray that His Holiness lives long and that His dream, that His vision of this universal ethics for the world come true on the massive scale, and also that the Buddha's teachings of compassion, universal ethics, compassion, bodhicitta, wisdom and emptiness, they thrive in the minds of all Tibetan sentient beings. And may the war subsides, may the war stop as soon as possible in Ukraine, and may all the border tensions all over the world stop, and may the people live in harmony, peace, and fearless. So with this mind, let us dedicate the verses together, page 52. I dedicate the mat that's gathered towards realizing my tears in the prayers of all Buddhists and Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine of scripture and insight. And all lives through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Maya and of the ego, and accomplishes all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfectly in the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast the space that I've amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief living Buddha for all those whose minds personalized by the buildings. Parvati gate bodhi swaha om gate gate paravate parasam gate bodhi swaha